So just continuing on with the idea of spelling, which I know is an important part of Element, but is actually something that happens generally in the editing phase where we get them to really look at the way in which they do that, but forms mostly part of our word study program. But this is just around developing the ability to hear and record sounds in words. As I mentioned before, they start by random placement of letters, often starts with the ones in their own name. Then they start to record dominant sounds. So you can see the example there that represents I went to the shop and got some lollies, or I will get the cat, and then really beginning to record hard to hear sounds through lots of word study practice. THRAS, this is the chart that's up in the classrooms, teaching handwriting, reading and spelling strategies. This gives the children an anchor for the 44 phonemes of the English language, gives them a chance to find some of those spelling choices if they're not really sure, but also how to read them. Helpful spelling strategies, we look at visual, sound, meaning and connecting strategies as well as checking strategies. So when we're looking at visual strategies, we ask the children to identify what the word looks like and how that may help them work it out. So they might recall how the word looks from memory. They might try writing the word several ways and decide which works or looks best. They might recognise and apply visual patterns. I know how to spell main, so I can spell strain and brain. The other way in which they can use strategies to help spell is sound strategies. So how the word sounds can help. So saying the word slowly so each sound can be articulated. K, a, t. So they can break it and pull it apart. Use the THRAS chart, sound and letter charts, and focus on the letter identification. What you know about the word can also help with spelling, so meaning and connecting strategies, applying analogies for why the word is spelled that way. You know, sometimes we do things like connecting strategies, like when we want to spell because big elephants can always understand small elephants. We call those mnemonics, and they give us ways in which we can remember it later on. Build on words already known to get unknown words. For example, I can spell the compound word birthday because I know how to spell birth and day, and it means the day I was born. Or things like spelling dahlia because I know it was named after a botanist called Dahl. We start to develop those and have those sorts of conversations in word study. Another one, if I can spell jump, I can spell jumps, jumped, jumping, jumper, when I start to learn what those suffixes mean that are on the ends of those words. Checking strategies, when I reread the word, it makes sense, so I always proofread. I can read my work backwards so that I look at each word out of context. Sometimes when we look at it out of context, we can see the errors more clearly than when we read it from the start of the sentence to the end. So there's those 5 types of strategies we teach children. Prompts for spelling strategies. You know, when the child asks, how do you spell, which is a common question, it's always important to encourage them to have a go in the classroom or at home. So some ways you can say that is, say the word slowly. What sounds do you hear? What letters might you use to make that sound? You may have to help with that sound articulation to begin with as well. Circle the part of the word you think that might be wrong. What else could you use? What does the THRAS chart show us as another spelling choice we could try? You know how to spell ball. How then do you think you would spell small? Look in your own writing and around the room for charts and lists. You could ask a friend to support you with that, and also maybe using a dictionary word book or list. And we do tend to put that towards the end because we want children to develop those other strategies first. Oxford words, you might hear about learning their Oxford words. This is a common word list that we use, and they are the words most used by children in their writing. So it can provide help with learning to spell those words. So ask the child with the Oxford words if they're bringing those home to practice. Look at the whole word carefully, close your eyes and picture the word in your mind, say the word, trace it in the air, say the word again, write the word, and then they can check their spelling around that. That's ways in which you can do some of the active learning words strategies at home for that word list, which looks like this.